So online reviews have become one of the most powerful forms of marketing for local service companies. A strong 5-star review rate tells potential customers that homeowners like them have had a great experience with your team. So tracking this KPI helps HVAC owners understand whether their service quality is translating into the kind of reputation that drives new business. And so to calculate this KPI, it's really straightforward. If you've looked at any of the book or any of my other videos, very similar formulas to what we've done before. It's so pretty straightforward, data set here. What we have is, when was the service date, customer ID, customer type, all these different fields. But the main thing that we need is the date, and then we need the review rating here, because you're not going to get a review from everybody. And so then from here, we can create a column saying, if there's nothing here, then 0, otherwise 1, because we need that column to calculate if there was a review, right? So we're going to have the number of 5-star reviews divided by the total number of reviews by month. And so the way we do that is we create 2 columns. One, was a review left? And so equals if review rating equals blank, comma 0, otherwise 1, right? So if then, and then you get, I don't know why it's always formatting as a dollar. Then you get, the ones and the zeros. So now we can use the sum of the ones as the denominator, and then the count of the 5s as the numerator to get the percentage. And then to get the month, we need the end of each month, just so we can put everything into the same cohort by month. So equals EO month, end of month, choose the date, comma 0. And then from here, now you have a text column, or now you have the date column. Okay, I'm going to delete these 2 columns because we already have them in orange here, but those are just the formulas. You can see it's the same formula here, and it's the same formula here. And if you want this file with my solutions, with my formulas, with my charts, with everything, there's a link to download it. You don't need to pay anything, or there's no email, just there's a link. And if you can't find a link, then you will have to email me, but shoot me an email, and I'll give you my email here after this video. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to create a unique list of this month, so we could put everything into the cohort. So month equals unique, right? So equals unique of this, because we don't want, January 31st 100 times. And then we have it here. Just have to sort it, not sort it, but format it as a date. And also, if you're using this data set, perfect, you're done with this part. But if you're not, you might want to sort, you need to make sure this is sorted, chronologically. And a way you can do that is just wrap the unique function with the sort function, and it'll automatically, this data is already that way, but it'll automatically do that. Okay, so for the next things we need, I'm just going to copy and paste the titles from here just to show you, just to save, a couple seconds. But these are the next things we need to calculate. Okay, so total reviews, if you remember, is the sum of that column, because a 1 means a review is left. So you can count the number of ones, or you can sum the column because it's going to give you the same answer. I'm going to do COUNTIFS on some other formulas, so I'll do SUMIFS here just to show you. So SUMIFS, review left here, comma, where the month, comma, is B3 here, right? So 31 reviews were left. And then we're going to, you can drag the copy or double click or drag it down, however you want to do it. We're going to leave this blank because once we get 5-star reviews, then anything that was not a 5-star review was a non-5-star review, right? So we can just subtract this from the 5-star review count. So here is where we do the COUNTIFS. So COUNTIFS, here you can do either one. You can start with the review rating, or you can start with the month. With the SUMIFS, it's important the very first argument has to be the summation column. Like, it has to be the column that you're trying to sum. Okay, so COUNTIFS here, and then comma 5, right? We want the 5-star review. So count how many rows, that's 5, and the month here is cell B3. I just typed in B3, but it's B3 right here. And now we have, the number of 5-star reviews. And then here is just the total reviews minus the 5-star reviews. I'm just going to center everything. And now that gives you the non 5-star reviews. And so the reason we're doing it this way is so whenever we build the chart, when we do a stacked column, this will be the bottom of the stacked column and this will be the top. Okay, the 5-star review rate is 14 divided by 31. Press Control Shift 5 to make it a percent. And then for the target, we can do, 50%. And then underneath that, do equals the cell above it. Because this way you have a dynamic, you have a dynamic sort of changing cell here to where everything changes. All right, so finally we can actually start creating the chart. It takes 5 minutes and 49 seconds to just get this figured out. But the chart part is pretty easy. So just highlight the column, the month column, hold down Control, and highlight everything that is not total reviews. Go to Insert, and then go to Recommended Charts, and then you're not going to see it here. You have to sort of recreate it. So go to All Charts, and then go to Combo. And it's still not perfect because the benefit of the combo chart is you can get very specific. So for non-5-star reviews and for 5-star reviews, we want that to be a stacked column. So the second one here. And so you can already see like the red, which we're going to change, but the red are the 5-star reviews. Like, red is bad. We don't want it to be red. But that's the default, which we can go and change. And then the 5-star review rate is the line, which I want on a secondary axis. You see the percentage here? This is what I want here. And then the same thing here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip these axes because this KPI is 5-star review rate. So I'm going to want I want the rate on the y-axis. So I'll just uncheck these boxes and then I'll check the first two. And now you can see the percentages on the y-axis as to where the counts of, 5-star and non-5-star reviews are on the secondary axis. And so, yeah, that's how you create the chart. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Again, the hardest part of any of this stuff is just getting your data structured. And so I get that. But once you have it structured, it takes 7 minutes and 22 seconds to get this figured out. And so now we're just going to just make this look pretty, essentially. So first, we don't want the red. So I'm going to click on the red. You see how I'll double click and then I'll click out and then I'll click back in. And you see how the red part is sort of, you can see like the little circles around. And so that's what we want. And then I'm going to go to the paint bucket here and then I'm going to change it. Let's make it blue, like a little bit of a different color blue. That's fine. And then for the green line, I'm going to make it also blue. So I'll click on that, go back to the paint bucket, and then make it, not sure, just maybe a little bit of a different color blue. That's too similar. Maybe a little bit darker. That's too similar. I'll get there eventually. That looks black. Okay. That's good enough. But yeah, of course you can change it to whatever you want. And then for the purple line, I'm going to change that as well. I'm going to double click because I don't like the color, but 2, it's just taking up too much real estate. It doesn't need to be that thick. So I'll change it to orange, just, something you can see. And then I'll maybe do 1.5, maybe make a dash. Yeah. Okay. Just so we can see it. And if you remember from before, this is a changing cell. So now you can do like a sensitivity analysis, right? So what's above 50%, right? And it's just, 9,125. But if you did 35%, you can see, a lot more things are above it. And then one more little formatting thing with the date here, it's not bad. But if you wanted to like bring the chart down just a little bit, you can change the date format. And so what you do is you go over here and change it. You might be able to change it here as well. Let's see, number, date, type. Oh, okay, yeah. So you could actually do it right here as well. That makes it easier. So you can just delete that and then delete those two. Well, I say you can. Let's see. Yeah. So you see what you're doing is you're changing it just in the chart. You're not changing it here. If you want to change it here as well, you can highlight this, press Control 1, go to Custom, and then you can just do it here. You can just delete essentially those. Make sure you have that backslash. And then one last thing I'll show you, but real quick, let me just get the chart title here. If you want the values on the chart, you can click in the chart, click the little crosshair here and go over data labels, but you can see it doesn't look good. And so what might be better is picking like either one value, meaning just the line, or just the just the 5-star reviews, and then you can do just those. Meaning if you click on just the line, you can then do data labels this way. And I'll show you a little trick. It's still a little bit hard to see, but if you click on a number, then you can add a background to it. So you can get just a light background of some sort, and then you can make it bold, you can increase the font, things like that, and then just sort of see what's in the way and what's out of the way. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is you can just pick a couple points, like maybe you want just this point, and make sure you see that little square with 4 circles. It's just on that point. And so you can add that here, and then maybe a low point here. And then you can do the same thing, add the background, make it bold, like that. And then one more I'll show you, because I want to keep those two, but one more I'll show you is if you click just the top part, so you can see just the section for 5-star, like several of these are sort of highlighted, then you can do the data labels that way. And then you'll want to put a background on there or change the font color or something, but you could do it that way as well. And so, yeah, that is it for this video. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. questions@databoards, and that is actually the end of the 160 videos that I've done for HVAC. And I sit here on my balcony, all night. It's currently 2 a.m. right now. Actually, it's 1:42 a.m. And so, yeah, just sit out here and make these videos, and this is the final one for HVAC. And so if you have any questions, just let me know. If you want this data set, there's a link to download it. It's going to have all my formulas, all the charts, all that stuff. And finally, if you need some help to get your data structured in this way, get the KPIs, all that stuff, then there's a link to my calendar, or you can just shoot me an email. But essentially, I get that, it's hard to get this data, but say you're doing, what is this, 11 jobs a day. I know this is January 1st, it's dummy data, but say you're doing 11 jobs a day, it's going to be worth it to have somebody manually entering in this data, talking to customers, figuring it out, getting all the information. And with this one, you just need an event date and then, the review that was left. But if you have acquisition channel, then you can just slice it by acquisition channel rather than by months. You could do acquisition channel here, right? Or you could do it by tech name. You could do it by tech name, primary tech, by month. You could do it by dispatcher by month, which it could make sense because, a dispatcher, there might be some dispatchers that are slow, or, doing bad sequencing. Service rep, you could do it by job type. You could do it by service versus install. You could do it by people that have a maintenance plan, right? Primary system, you could do by brand. That'd be sort of weird. Yeah, and so there's a lot of ways to do it. It's pretty much the same. COUNTIFS, SUMIFS, like for this specific KPI. But yeah, any questions, let me know. Want the file, link to download. Can't find the link, shoot me an email. And if you need some help, shoot me an email, or there's a link to hop on my calendar. But that is it, and that'll wrap up this book and wrap up this series.